Hi guys, it's Sandy P. I just wanted to come on and talk for a little bit. I know some people saw on my tag where I talked about my husband. Those who don't know, he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. It'll be 2 years in February. He's a fighter. 9.5 years ago, he had a massive stroke. And that day, the doctors told me to tell him goodbye, that there was no hope. So he's a miracle there. So I believe in miracles. After his cancer diagnosis, his oncologist didn't tell us what the plan was until after his third round of chemo because they didn't think his body was going to accept the chemo. His first 6 months, pretty much no problems. It's pretty cool. The only real side effect he had was hiccups. And I'm sorry this is crooked. I have this sort of sitting on a chair. But yeah, none of the side effects that everyone talked about having, like the nausea, the nausea and vomiting, same thing, the diarrhea, the numbness of the hands and the feet, that we would know because his stroke has affected his right side. So he cannot use his right arm, and he has limited use of his right leg. So we would know if there was issues, for example, like if he couldn't grasp something, we would know. And if things were too cold for him, we would know. He would tell. I mean, if he didn't tell us, we'd be able to tell. So that round he went through okay. And then they put him on maintenance chemo. And he was on maintenance chemo for about a year. He had, when he was diagnosed, there was a mass in his colon and then 2 lesions on his liver. And because of his issues he has with the stroke, they decided not to cut it out and put the bag on him because this man, after a stroke, pulled out 2 PICC lines. Yeah, we could just imagine what he would do with that. So they've just done chemo, and the chemo has shrunk everything. And he was doing good. And then after a year of maintenance, one of the lesions on his liver grew by 0.02 centimeters. But any growth is not good. And so they changed his chemo dosage, and they changed different things. There was also a questionable spot they found on his lung. But a little over a year ago, he was in the hospital for 2 months with pneumonia. And the pulmonologist saw that same spot, and they weren't concerned about it. They said sometimes it's like if people who live out here in Arizona, if they have valley fever, it will like grow over that spot and it will scar. So this could be, they just assumed that was an old spot, from years ago. Like maybe he had pneumonia a long time ago and there was a spot and it grew over. He was also a smoker until his stroke. So it could have been from that. But up until, no one had ever been concerned about it. And then it was just the person who was reading the scan saw it and said something to his oncologist. Well, with the new dosage of chemo, he's having side effects now. It's around right now. He takes regular medication for everything involved with the stroke. He takes a blood thinner. He takes stuff for. He takes a Lasix, a diuretic, so that the fluid doesn't build up. He takes, it's basically all stuff for his heart because his stroke was caused by an irregular heartbeat that caused a blood clot that went to the brain. So most of his medicines are that. And then he has for the chemo, for the cancer and the chemo, he has medicines that he takes just in case. Like there's one for nausea, one for diarrhea, and then one for the hiccups. And yes, hiccups is it's not a real common side effect from chemo, but this is a hiccup that is so bad that wakes him up in the middle of the night that if a cat is sleeping on his chest, it jumps. I mean, it wakes me up from a sound sleep. Just to tell you how things are going, this round he's taking all 3 of those extra medications. But today, Christmas, he had an omelet for breakfast. For lunch, he had a baked potato, and for dinner, he had 2 baked potatoes. That's all he wanted to eat. But I wanted to come on here, tell you a little bit about that, because that explains what's next. I was woken this morning by a phone call from my younger brother. Okay, I'm from a Brady Bunch family, 3 boys, 3 girls, all same parents though. And so when I talked about my siblings, I say my older sister, older brother, middle brother, younger sister, younger brother. I'm the Jan Brady. I'm the middle girl. My younger brother called me because my middle brother, about a month after Frank was diagnosed with his colon cancer, my middle brother was diagnosed with lung cancer. And so, been kind of like the two of them are going through the same things together. I can call my brother if I have questions about, like, this whole food thing with Frank. And he's giving me suggestions and, just different things. Well, my younger brother called me this morning because my younger sister had called me yesterday. My middle brother's in the hospital. He's been there for a while. There has been fluid building up by his lungs. And they found another mass. I don't understand at all if it's on his lungs or next to his lungs or what it is for sure. But what they were going to do is they were going to drain the fluid and then let him go home. I think that's what they said, let him go home. Either to hospice to get stronger and then do the surgery, and then go to hospice, or just go home and not worry about surgery for that mass. Well, my younger brother called me this morning and said that they're not going to drain the lung. That I'm sorry if I get these all wrong. I think he was saying that they were afraid of lung collapsing. And my younger sister and my younger brother both told me that they're talking about weeks and months. I really hate crying. So when I was talking to my brother today, my younger brother, I got to the point where I couldn't breathe. And those of you who know, I've talked about when I have anxiety and stuff, my mom was the person I could call. And Mom would let me talk, and then she would say, breathe. She would have to remind me to breathe. We lost my mom unexpectedly in February. Our first Christmas without her. And I really needed someone to tell me to breathe this morning. Because I seriously couldn't catch my breath. I'm sorry, I'm just coming on. I just want to let you guys know what's going on here. I was debating. I had actually put on Facebook that I wanted people to tell me their opinions. As Frank and I had talked about flying out to Nebraska this summer for my family reunion. We live in Arizona. My family's in Nebraska. And so we talked about that. And then when this happened, I get this call. I'm going, do we go now to see him? Or do I wait until, the end and then go? And I know that emotionally, I'm not strong enough to do it. I'm struggling so much with not having Mom to talk to, with everything going on with Frank. There's just so much going on. And so I was debating, what I wanted to do and everything. And I started, Frank was asking me what's going on, and I'm telling him. And he said, can we go? Where do you want to go? He wants to go see my brother. Because a friend pointed out that Frank has had some behavior issues the past couple days. That maybe he's thinking about my brother too. So we had tickets, Southwest Airlines. From last year, we were supposed to have gone to San Diego, but he got sick, and so we didn't go. So those tickets, um, I canceled our flights, and we can use them. So we're gonna use those. I found some good prices on flights, direct flights, which are nice, especially for Frank. So we only have to pay like $100 difference for our flights from, because Phoenix and San Diego are a lot closer than Phoenix and Omaha. So we're going to do that. The hospital that my brother's at is about 2.5 hours from Omaha. I think about that far. And so I'm hoping I can find somebody who will pick us up at the airport in Omaha and then drive us to this town. And then I'll rent a car there and we'll stay in a hotel there. Because I hate driving with a passion, but I want to have a car, to get around there. And my family, there's no one who has a house that's wheelchair accessible. And Frank will need wheelchair accessible. He'll need an accessible bathroom, a bed to sleep in. And also, he gets tired easily. He's going to need a room that he can just go to. Same thing with the car. We're going to need our own car because we'll have to fold up a wheelchair, put it in the back. Frank has a certain place he has to sit in the car. So all this stuff. So, I'm going to put this on in the notes and stuff. I'm making these reservations, and I know something's going to come through, and these are going to get paid for. These are expenses that we weren't expecting, but it actually was almost a calming effect, knowing that I will see my brother one last time. Except when I think that it's going to be one last time. I'm hoping for a miracle. I called him tonight, my middle brother. Almost the hardest thing I ever had to do. 3 years ago, I had to call my aunt and uncle after my cousin lost her battle with lung cancer. That was hard. But anyway, my brother is saying that the doctors are giving him a year. My brother is being very wishful. But you know what? He's going to believe it. 9.5 years ago, doctors told me there's no hope for Frank. Almost 2 years ago, the doctors had no hope for him. So we're going to do this. Frank wants to do it. He's asking me, he goes, can we go out to eat when we're there? And I'm going, yeah, we're staying in a hotel. We're going to go out to eat. I have some former classmates that I haven't seen in years that we're going to try to see. Relatives we're going to see. We're going to do this. I'm going to put this in, I already said I'm going to put this in my notes stuff. Or in the bottom part. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to add our PayPal there. One of Frank's classmates, after Frank's cancer diagnosis, started a GoFundMe page. I'm going to put a link for that. You don't have to do any of this. If you feel the calling to do it, thank you. If you know someone who, would be willing to do it, thank you. I do get paid to be Frank's caregiver. Not a whole lot of money, but we get that. Frank is disability. Not a whole lot of money, but we get that. Just to give an idea, to find an accessible hotel room, that we're going to be there for 4 nights. It's going to be like $100 a night. The car rental, because we don't own a car, I have to pay for the insurance too. And there's also the deposit for it, so that's going to be about like $350. So, $700, because I had the extra $100 for the, that I paid for the airplane ticket. But it's going to work out. Sorry to be such a downer today, but I wanted to let you guys know what's going on. And those of you who are believers and pray, keep praying for my brother. His name is Mike. Mike has 6 kids. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 or 6 grandkids. I'm not sure. His wife had a son before they got married, and I don't know if he has 1 or 2 kids. So Mike has either 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 grandkids. Mike, my middle brother, is 8 years older than me. But we are the middle. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a blessed evening. Hope you had a great Christmas. God bless you, and 2020 can only be better for everyone. Bye.